This is where the technology fails us. Then we have to do it again. Yeah, killer. I had to do that the last one on Zoom, didn't I? It didn't work, and then nobody could hear the sound, so I had to re-record it. It took me about an hour. Right, thank you for coming. I appreciate taking the time out on a Monday evening. It's not. I'm sure there was more exciting things you could have done tonight, but I appreciate both myself and Dean appreciate you coming out. Some of the coaches will be down later. Most of them are working at the moment. Siobhan is playing a match, so she'll be in later, but you'll be on at that point. So, if you want to ask any questions at the end with any of the coaches, they'll obviously be around to try and have a chat. What we've also done as well is down here, paper. I'm not going to have time to kind of answer any questions necessarily, or to go around and get your questions, get your thoughts, any feedback, whether it's about today, whether it's about our coaching in general, anything you want to discuss, stick it down on the piece of paper and just stick it in that pot and we'll review it. If you don't want to stick your name on it, that's absolutely fine. If you want to keep it, that means it's obviously negative. That's absolutely fine. Just put your piece of paper in and we'll have a look at it over time. I don't think there's any. I'm not going to any fire drills with you or anything like that. Toilets and stuff. We probably won't have time for a break. I want to try and rattle this off in half an hour. That's my aim. So that gives me 1:45 is the aim. Anything else before I want to get going? So what we wanted to do is, as we grow and as we get bigger, we have a lot more parents to try and get around to talk to, a lot more parents to try and get around and see. And we physically can't talk to everybody, certainly myself and Dean, we can't physically talk to everybody. We teach a lot of children now, so we have to find a way of getting you all in one room and doing it in slightly different ways. So we've come up with this idea, and hopefully that will suffice and give you everything you need. So we're going to run through a few different things. Just a general background on us, who we are, what we do. For those of you who are new to the sport, then you might not know much about what we do or our history. For those of you who've been with us for ages, then you'll probably have a bit more of an idea. We're going to talk a little bit around playing once a week. So for more of the beginners here or the people that have just started playing, some of you may have read the blog that I did a couple of weeks ago now. There's some of the information based around that, but also some other facts that you'll take probably to other clubs as well, or other sports that you play, maybe even something you do in general yourself. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about mini tennis. So those of you who are playing mini tennis, some of the facts around the mini tennis journey, how that works for you. Some of you obviously will be in the junior yellow ball age, so that will be more relevant to you, and that will be coming up near the end. We did have a special guest, as some of you may have seen, lined up for this evening. What we wanted to do was actually talk to a parent and ask some questions with a parent, but unfortunately that parent we did want to come couldn't make this evening, and we couldn't really find a suitable parent and child combination that we felt was going to be relevant or helpful. So I think that will be our aim is for the next session is to try and bring a parent in to give you some conversation with them as well and ask some questions about their journey. So somebody that started here as a young child and then gone all the way through off to university or wherever. We'll have some different options in there. So we'll talk about a few of the different options to playing a little bit more. Some of the stuff that we do here as well, so to give you an idea on things that you may not know are happening, that you have the option with your child. I will always need a drink whilst talking, so if anybody has a question, please feel free to ask, butt in, you don't need to put your hands up. If you have any questions about any of the slides or anything that I talk about, just butt in, it gives me a chance to have a drink anyway. So yeah, is there anything you want to say?
Just really look at the celebration of the sport in terms of it's a COVID-free sport now officially, and that's kind of long gone behind us. We want to try and get the club back and give the juniors a representation down here with regards to the longevity of the sport, what the sport offers them right now, what it can do in the future. As a coaching company, what we can do for the children in terms of if they decide to go down the coaching route, if they want aspects of work and employment in the long term. But just to kind of give you an idea that this sport has so many avenues to go down. It can offer so much, from mini reds to over 18s to stood up over 50s.
60s.
No, I thought I'd go 50. I thought I'd go 50. But it just offers so much. I've travelled around the world playing sport, coaching tennis, and it's like a language. It allows you to go into any tennis club around the world and be respected, and you can enjoy, you can socialise, and just adds quite a lot to an individual's life in terms of opportunity. So for me, it's more the case of using this wonderful venue. I kind of want to see 12 bikes outside and the kids full of coming down here and meeting up, to try to like instill that idea that this place is a venue for you to enjoy and the kids to feel safe, because public space is limited. Some public spaces are also dangerous. This isn't one of them. Okay, this is a place we can all enjoy, and obviously me and Simon are here a lot of the time anyway. So I just want to relay that message, just to use this as your club, both parents and children, and also to feel that this is a safe environment to be in, with obviously the use of some fantastic facilities along the way.
Gavin, is it still filming?
Yeah.
Excellent. You're a filming director for today, so if that goes off, you need to alert me.
Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick background on Northampton Tennis Coaching, where it started. So some of you all know Matthew Hobson. Back, I think it was 2012, we started in. We started with I think it was about 6 children at Earls Barton Tennis Club. We now coach at 6 venues, over 30 primary schools, over 400 children on our programme, and we teach around about, it's probably a bit more than 5,000 children a year, it's about 8,000 to 10,000 children a year. So in terms of where we were to where we've come, we're a little bit bigger, hence why we're doing this type of thing, because it's a bit difficult to see that many children. We wanted to move into a more of a community interest company, which hence the change from last year. So some of you will notice these bank details keep changing. I don't know where I am anymore. Who am I paying? What am I paying? So to give you a bit of background, we moved to a community interest company 2019. A community interest is a not-for-profit company, for those of you who don't know. So it gives us the opportunity to apply for more grants, to do more community-based work. We obviously can't take profit out, so there's less dividends. Well, we can't take a dividend out. So it's a very different way of working. And I suppose for us, it highlights what we're trying to achieve with the tennis coaching. This isn't about a business that we've created. We really want to build that kind of community feel with our coaching, and that's really important to us. Hence, the foundation that we've set up this year. So again, some of you may have seen the foundation that we're launching this year. It's not fully completed, but we are hoping to have our official charitable status very soon, and then launch our foundation at the end of this year as well, or some point in the middle of this year. And that will again just kind of extend this idea of this community tennis coaching provider, and doing a lot more work into areas of, the barriers are too great with tennis coaching. And we all know, unfortunately, tennis coaching doesn't have the mindset that it should in these tennis clubs. It's always been an upper class sport, so we're trying to break down those barriers a little bit. So that's kind of why we set up the foundation, in order to do that. So you'll see that later on in the year. So in terms of what we're trying to do with every child is really just to get the best out of as many people as possible. To get the most out of each individual that we work with. That's our philosophy. We talked about it today at the meeting we have with the coaches every Monday. We really want to all share in this idea that if we make a decision, it's based around what is best for the child, what is best for their tennis, and really kind of nail in on actually each individual person will have their own journey. So it's important to us that we make sure each individual is looked after as best we can. As we grow, that's not as easy, but we're doing our best to find those different ways each time of making that journey as good as we can for each child.
And with regards to those meetings, every angle, every aspect of what we do is covered. So it's not just kind of performance tennis spoken about or adult tennis. It's from like mini reds, beginners, to under 18 performance and club issues and so on. So if any of you have a concern, that's when we talk to the coaches and talk about it together and go through it, and with all of that experience kind of come to a conclusion about the best way to deal with things. So we meet every Monday as a team of coaches. So it's not a case of we are individual coaches dotted around the county. We all come together every Monday to discuss the week ahead, the week just gone, anything that's been risen over the weekends, and so on. So any concerns that you do have, they don't just get filed away and left. We discuss them every Monday.
Yeah, as Dean said, it isn't. Excuse me. We teach performance players. We teach once a weekers. We teach in schools. We teach a range of levels. So there are some coaches that are better at certain things. Some coaches are better at others. But we don't just work in one area. We have to teach, and we are teaching a lot of different standards of people. So there are people in this room that are more focused on a performance or a higher level. There are people here that it's more of a once a week thing. And that's absolutely fine. We're just trying to make the best out of everybody that we do get in. So yeah, that's really the important part for us. 2022, most of you will know, it was my mission, and you probably got it because I must have been badgering on at you for a lot. I'm sure you probably got bored of the WhatsApp group and used it. I really pushed hard last year. Our mission was to more match play. It was really important kids play match play. And that was our big push that last year. It still is our push this year, but with more of an emphasis on playing more. So it's not just about match play, but it's this idea of playing more. Practicing, and you spoke about practicing earlier, you spoke about the bikes. Play more is our mission for this year. Is how many times can we get you to play more, to think about playing more tennis with the children? How often can we get you onto court, and can we get your children onto court? That's what we're aiming to do this year.
But also we'd like it from the children asking the parents to take them down to the club. Obviously you guys can do everything you can and say, oh, do you want to go play tennis today? But we want to try to instill that idea that when they have free time and there's a window, that hopefully they might turn around to you and go, oh, can you drop me down the club to go and hit some serves, to go and maybe get the ball machine out if it's available. But just options that, it's not just kind of coaching members and so on, or if you're in a squad or attending a tournament or something, that's the only reason you come down here. Like, you can come down here whenever you wish to access the courts if they're available, and that's the sort of mindset we want to try and create.
As an observation, it's quite difficult to book a court here in the evenings with all the classes going on.
Yeah.
And everything, so absolutely be great if everyone incorporates finding that time.
Find that window.
Yeah, I think there's a chairman of the tennis club here. Yes, it is. It is difficult to book a court here. Between 4 and 7, and to be honest, going into the summer, it's probably Monday to Friday. Between 4 and 9, it is going to be more difficult to book a court. And I suppose it's something that this club in general needs to look at in terms of its availability, and how we allow more court space for general play. It's a great problem to have. In my 10 years, we've not had that problem. So it is a good problem to have for us, but the club needs to address how, if it does become an issue throughout the year, they look at that and how they how they progress that. I think we are hopefully, there are some things on the horizon which are going to give us the opportunity to access more tennis courts, and that will then help you out. However, some of you know, some of you are not just here from this club, you come from some of our other venues. I probably shouldn't say this in front of the chairman of this tennis club, but we're pretty happy if you swap clubs and go and play at a different one of our affiliated venues. You know, if there aren't any courts here and you could nip over to another venue, we work at Coventry, we work here, we work at Brixworth, we work at Kettering. We're hoping for some more venues later in the year, and which we will announce hopefully another time, hopefully. There is an opportunity for you to play at those, so if you ever do want to skip over to those, let me know and I'll do it on the slide. But we want to be able to create more of a full-rounded picture for it, but obviously, unfortunately, we don't have that control over the clubs. The clubs are their own body, and we effectively rent the courts whilst we don't rent them, but we're just here using the courts to do the coaching, so that's something we'll look at. Thank you, Ben. So on to the next part around playing more. So what I tried to do, and some of you again may have seen this, I've tried to split off this idea of having 4 levels of players. So having a club level player, a county level player, a regional level player, and a national level player. Now we teach all 4. We want to teach all 4. And obviously beginners will kind of grow into these 4 levels. We don't really feel natural ability comes into many of these things. And what we tried to do is highlight different players that some of you may know from the clubs that you're at, some of you won't know. We then tried to highlight how much they're doing per week and how much they have done. Most of these children now are 15 to 18 or older and gone. Some of them are actually a lot younger on there. But we wanted to highlight the reality of how much it kind of takes to get to a certain level. And I think for the majority of we people we teach, to get them to a basic club level of tennis, as you can see, is not easy. It seems like a base level of tennis you may want your child to become. But there is a lot of time still invested into that it takes to get them to that kind of level. Now, all of these children, that's roughly their program. All of them started or have played tennis either here or another club in Northampton. There are a couple of them that we couldn't fish out too many national level players from our club, so we had to steal a few children on that front. But they all started in Northampton tennis clubs, exactly where every single one of you did. They all played other sports, so none of them just played tennis and dedicated all of their time to tennis. So it's very much not a case of you only play tennis and then you'll be really good. We heavily encourage other sports. It's very good for the children to play other sports, to learn different skills from other sports. So hours doing things are really, really important. All of these children play outside of that as well. Okay, that's really important as well. You mentioned practice. How often do your children practice? How often do they come down without a lesson or a squat? I was doing this out of business here, but it is really important. Like, just practice. It's free to use the courts. Like, come down and play more often. All of those children will practice regularly. They all still play tennis. None of them quit. Well, one's close, but he's not quit yet. They all still play tennis, and they've got so many options. I mean, there's lots of different things that they can now do after their sports. They're all, most of them are still in tennis in some way. And we want to kind of stress the importance of what tennis can do afterwards, why you're here, what's the point of being here, where are they going to go, because are they going to be a professional tennis player? Sorry, probably not. So there are other things. It's not my child will be a professional tennis player or not play tennis. We want there to be a middle ground. We want there to be something they aspire to achieve. Hopefully, I said to all the coaches earlier that we obviously all are still in tennis, we're still playing tennis, we're still enjoying tennis when we're working. Hopefully none of you go and go, well, I don't want my child to be like them. So I won't take that as a career option for my child. But there are obviously lots of careers within sport, within tennis, within coaching, or whether it's in a psychological capacity, fitness capacity. Some of you may have noticed the fitness trainer outside. There are lots of avenues children can go in with their tennis. I think it's not just about them playing tennis and getting better at the sport. It's teaching them so many different things. That's what we really wanted to stress with this idea of playing more.
So from that position, the top two are very, very attainable. Very, very attainable with just kind of hard work and practice and commitment. The bottom two, the LTA will get involved. They will help fund and subsidise their journey. They'll also link them to regional performance centres across the country where they get offered a wonderful package, and the children will kind of be training out of there as well as options. As a business and a coaching provider, we work with the regional players. When they get to national, they would have to be indoors. In this climate, they'd have to be indoors and training more. So we kind of like look to work with club, county and regional. The club and county players, some amazing opportunities. You get to play, represent your county, you get to travel around the country, you get weekends paid for in hotels, you go and compete over weekends at indoor venues. Over 35, you get to play at Eastbourne and play other counties as well, on the grass courts where Novak Djokovic has won. There's lots of opportunity that tennis can bring. Obviously, we all pick a sport wanting to excel and be the best at it, but to achieve county level, even club level, club level, county level, it's a good, strong standard. Northampton County Cricket, they have a county team. Unfortunately, tennis doesn't get fans and 2020 and fireworks and stuff, but it's just the way it went.
Different kind of fireworks.
Yeah, it's just the way it went. But I think with tennis, it can really offer a lot of value to an individual, but also a lot of experiences. Obviously, it's an individual sport, but it brings a team together and represents the county. So you get a team of 6 that might go away to Cambridge or Manchester or, God forbid, Sunderland sometimes for a weekend away, and they'll go away as a team. The LTA will pay for them to stay in a hotel, and it'll just have that nice bonding as age groups from literally what starts at 18s.
Yeah, with the under 8s through to 18s, there's obviously different opportunities, and I think Dean stressed it's very achievable to get to a county level of tennis, in my opinion, and I think it's something a lot of children could aim as a really clear target. Lots of you in this room that we do believe your child will be able to make a county level of tennis, and I think it's worth looking into if it's a target for your child. It is a great experience, and it's important to think about your journey and where do they want to go, how good do they want to be, and like I said, we were hoping to have a parent here to give you a bit of an idea on that journey, but unfortunately they couldn't make it, so we're going to try for the next one to see if we can do that, because hopefully if we're agreed, that might be something that you would like to hear from, but we'll take that for the next one.
It's nice in our squads, you've got county players in the squad, so the children can actually see a county player in their squad and know what level they've got to get to or how close, how far away. You've got 3 parents in the second row, they're there, 3 of their boys are in the boys under 12s county team. So they train the squads with us, and they're training together, they're meeting up during half terms and playing and so on. So, but if you just want to enter the club champs and represent the club and play for the club, that's just as good. And there's a Super League to Division 4, I believe. So there's lots of avenues to go down. And also, when the children finish their squads at under 18, they can kind of start entering club tennis. But more than likely before that, at 16s, 15s, because they'll be running the adults around by then anyway.
We've got 5 minutes to finish. I won't finish in 5 minutes. So, has anybody got anything they want to, any kind of questions so far, or anything burning they want to say? Some of you may have seen the blog we did last year. So this is really maybe more targeted to those that play once a week. I did some research last year into our figures from 2022. So I kind of looked at, we had quite a large drop off between November to February. So I looked at some of the reasons behind why there might be a drop off, why children aren't coming back, or if there are any patterns, things that we can do better. And one of the things I found, and whether this is controversial or not, I don't know, but I tried to make a point that if your child does something once a week, are you more likely to put them off the sport than you are to give them the opportunity to play the sport and to love the sport? Which obviously is quite controversial because there are lots of people that just go once a week, and I don't want to say you're doing a bad job as a parent, but the reality is, if you come once a week, now this is a really, really difficult sport. Unfortunately, it's not football, again, sorry if you get offended if you play these sports, football and some of these other sports that are at a grassroots, in my opinion, a lot easier and accessible. Tennis is a very difficult sport to play even at a basic level to get some success at. So when children come once a week, and some of you will know that if your child comes once a week or hasn't been coming for very long, or even when you first started playing were coming once a week, and they haven't really got into the competitive side of it, or are still struggling, and haven't really found them sort of falling in love with it quite yet, then playing more is really going to help them. So we looked at some of the facts, and you'll see some of the facts. So 79% of children who quit last year played once a week. Every single one of them that played twice a week or more, and whether that was 2 squads a week, an individual, whether they just practiced with a parent or a friend or whatever it was, it didn't mean that they were coming to 2 lessons a week. Not one of them quit. Okay, so every single one of the people we saw last year, there wasn't one person that quit playing tennis that played more than 1 session a week. Again, there are lots of other reasons and examples, and I appreciate that. But as the numbers that we looked at, they were quite, I didn't realise that, and they were quite helpful to us to try and drive this idea of play more in 2023. So it basically meant, when I did the numbers, I crunched the numbers, it was you were 4 times more likely to continue playing if you played more than once a week. Which is obviously quite a lot of, it's a big opportunity to play more. They're going to really enjoy playing more. It's going to make them fall in love with the sport better and quicker. So we really do want to encourage this idea of how to play more. Now, somebody said to me earlier, I'm looking forward to your sales pitch later tonight. We're trying to, it is not a sales pitch. I mean, you said it earlier. This isn't a sales pitch to get you to play more. And so what I've tried to do is highlight on this side, this idea of different options that you have. Now, there are free options to play more. And that's the part that we want to stress the most. That doesn't cost anything. That's just a little bit of time. Come and use the tennis courts. They're free for you to use. Yes, I appreciate that court availability might be a little bit lower here. However, on that note, to answer that question, if you send me a text or if you send Dean a text and say, can I have a court this evening because they're all booked for coaching, a lot of the time we'll be able to say yes.
Going into the spring and summer.
A lot of the time we'll be able to do something and manoeuvre the courts around. Now we do have access to the school courts down there. We are happy to move. Unfortunately, you can't go down to the school as general public, but we are happy to go down to the school on certain occasions if we have enough notice. So there is opportunities, then we will do our best. Members know that if they let us know, there might be an opportunity, a squad isn't using as many courts as it needs, or, you know, as you know, not every child turns up in the squad every single lesson, so we can shift things around and use a court less. We want you to play, so if we can help, we will. There are times where we just won't have the court capacity.
Can I just say on court availability, you'll find that on Saturday afternoons and Sundays, and even during the week during holiday time, the utilisation of the courts is probably as low as 15%. So there are a lot of opportunities to play during the day, during the school holidays, Saturday afternoon and Sunday. The utilisation is very poor. It's 15-20%. I appreciate that between the hours of 4 and 8 o'clock at night, we are up to about 80-90%. But it is important that if your child does want to play, that you contact one of the coaches, particularly Simon and Dean, because we are keen to make sure that you do get use of the courts. So
If we don't know, we can't.
we can't do anything if they're booked, either for a match or whatever it is. We do want to make sure that the children get as much practice as they can. And certainly I know when my boys were growing up, I used to bring them up at every available opportunity just to knock and just to play, even though they used to argue all the time and maybe only play for 10 minutes. But it helped
We weren't that.
their development, it helped their development. So, try to use those times when the utilisation of the courts are very, very low.
And unfortunately, people do book courts and do not turn up,
Yeah.
which is a massive bugbear of mine, and I wish I could take their laptop away for a week as a punishment or something, because people are turning it off, but the courts aren't available and so on. So, yes, it is a problem with regards to availability, and it is something that we will do everything we can to give you the opportunity to play. But the booking system might look busy when sometimes actually isn't. So give us a call, send us a message. Is court 1 free? Yes, it is. And then Simon will remove the booking and we can take the lump of it.
Is it still recording? Right, let's moving on. I've got a little video, speaking of bugbearers. So one of the questions I wanted to try and answer, because I get it all the time, and it's, can my child move to Mini Orange? Can my child move to Mini Green? My child is 10, they need to play Mini Green now. Can they do Mini Green in the lesson? And the answer is difficult. Unfortunately, there is no right and wrong answer. The LTA have guidelines, you'll be able to see it on the wall over there. Take a look at that later. The LTA have guidelines for their competition on the ages that you need to play a certain ball colour. However, it's not as simple as that. And when you're coaching, we use it slightly differently to, oh, you're now 9, sweet, you're now orange ball. Oh, you're 10, fantastic, you're now green ball. And I'm going to go through some facts. First thing I want to do is show you a little video. Sorry there's no sound. I did try and get the sound to work earlier, but I lost faith in it. I couldn't get it to work again. So let me just get this video up. So what? Some of you may have seen this video. Some of you may not. Some of you may have seen this video, some of you may have not. That is Emma Raducanu, 9 years old, and this is Sony Cartal, 9 years old. So I'll show you it's a very, very short video. I'll show you the points, and I want you to just have a think about what you see. If it works. Come on now. Here we go.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, I'll touch that. Terrible, wasn't it? Out at the end, yeah. So, anybody got any questions on that? Anybody got any thoughts on Emma Raducanu playing a point at 9 years old?
They play it on smaller courts.
Adam?
They play on smaller courts.
Yeah. So, professional tennis player playing mini orange. Grand Slam champion. Anything else? Similar to your children? Not yet.
Did the court look relative to the players in terms of size? No?
Does that look like professional tennis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you didn't see the bigger court, you would just think they were playing.
So the idea behind that tiering of red, orange, green is to represent the size and capabilities of the individual. And then obviously when they go through to adult, what 2 strides would make to an adult, that would cover a full-size court. What 2 strides make as a junior playing mini orange would cover their court.
It's not too dissimilar to football in Spain.
No.
Through the
Exactly that.
through the lower ages, they play on
Yeah.
smaller pitches
Yeah,
with smaller goals, and the idea is you have more time on the ball,
yeah,
because the more time you've got with the ball, the more you learn.
yeah.
So this is really important to us. I sometimes, and me and Dean are quite different on this actually. He's very much move him up quicker. I'm very much keep him down on a ball colour quicker. So we tend to meet in the middle or just argue for hours. But I think the point I'm trying to get across is it's not a case of my child is better now so they can move up, they progress now to orange. My child is better now so they can move to green. For me it's be better on the court that you're playing on. So become a better player on that court rather than moving up to the next court. There is always something to learn. So whether you learn it on a mini red court, mini orange court, mini green court, it doesn't make a difference. What we're trying to do is replicate tennis played on a full court on a court that's relative to them. There are loads and loads of facts online, and there are some people that have done some really interesting research on mini tennis. So a little question. Which of those 3 courts is most relative to a full-size court? And what I mean by that is, in terms of a fully grown adult's height and children, which court is closest if you were to downsize it in proportion? Has anybody got any guesses? Red?
Depends how old children.
There will be 8, 9, 10. Okay? So we play mini red up to 8 years old. We should play orange at 9 years old, and we should play green at 10. Okay? So if you were to numb it down, the mini orange court is meant to be like a perfect size. So as your kid goes through their journey, at 9 years old, a mini orange court is pretty much, if you take the average height of a 9-year-old and the average height of say a male and a boy, they will be pretty much spot on. The height of the net, the height of the racket, the length of the rackets, if they're using a 25, is still a little too long, but that represents an adult pretty much nearly perfectly. So there are little things like mini red, for example. The net height is way too high. Okay, it's like, I had some facts down here. a mini red player, so an 8-year-old, it's like playing on a net that's 50% higher than an adult. So in terms of their height, it's like an adult playing on a net that's 50% higher. So it shows you the reality of what they've got to do. So when we're teaching them some technical stuff, we're actually asking them to do something that's completely different to what we'd be asking them to do on a full court. And there are lots of those things. They've got it as close as they can, and we use it as a training aid, but it's not perfect. And what we're trying to do is improve their technical journey through that age groups, through those ball colours. For me, and my answer to the question of can my child move up is always first no, even though they might be ready. But second is, we use it as a training aid. That's how I describe it. It's not a measurement of success. Oh great, yes, you're now orange ball, well done, let's move up. It's purely a training aid for us to help them get better at the sport. Okay, you'll see Dean, he does a bit more than me. Noah, when he's annoyed at you, how many times do you get the red balls out?
Quite a lot.
The red balls still come out with, a good, going to be a club, could easily be a county level player if he chose tennis instead of football.
Supports Watford, then.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. The red ball still comes out. Why? Because there's stuff that we can learn. And I think that's really important, is you kind of allow us to take them on that journey. And when you do get emails bombarded to you by the LTA and you sign up to that and say, oh, congratulations, your child is now 9 years old, suddenly the net is allowed to be higher, the court is allowed to be 9 meters longer. There are loads of facts around how much longer it is, and suddenly your child's now 10 years old, and apparently overnight they've got to now cover another 12 meters, and they overnight grew an extra 10 centimeters and were suddenly that much stronger. Obviously it's not possible, it's a gradual journey, and we take it each individual child at a time. And I think that's important to us, that when you do ask that question, because I think probably every single one of you has asked that or thought that at some point through their mini tennis journey. As best we will do it when we think it's the right time for them, and hopefully in our years of experience we get it right. There are other factors we take into consideration. Now, if your child is not playing much competition, okay, and we're talking about official competition, not our match-based stuff, if your child is doing some official competition, then they're going to need to be playing on the ball colour that they need to play at a tournament of the weekend, because they can't play down or up. So we'll probably want to get good practice on that ball colour. That is a different situation, but we take those types of things into consideration as well. We may feel that actually you'll develop technically better on an orange court, but unfortunately the weekend you have to play green ball. If you're playing a county level tournament or whatever, then the green balls will probably be out of the lesson.
It's a realisation, like mini green is the most difficult, because it's an adult sized court, and the ball just is a little bit lighter than a normal tennis ball. But as a 10-year-old, that ball's jumping up and accelerating up towards it. They almost kind of, I always think the first 6 months of mini green, it looks like they're fighting the ball every time, because it's jumping up above their shoulders. That's very true. Fighting it away, like tennis is a sending and receiving sport. Obviously, if you take time away from them, their preparation patterns or their movement patterns have now been, doubled in size. They've now got space to cover with an accelerating ball that's rising, rather than maybe at the orange they're used to a ball that's bouncing and decompressing as it lands, so it's just sitting there nicely in that zone of where they want to hit. So the feeling of any transition from red to orange to green, it won't look the same as the one ball curve they came from, because it's going to take time for them to get used to that ball arriving at a greater pace, from greater height, from a greater distance, a different bounce, and so on. Obviously the implications of techniques need to be instilled, but sometimes if they're tracking of the ball arriving to them, if they're making a contact with the ball up here every time, suddenly that technique goes out the window and they just kind of like frying pan it back, because their movement hasn't accelerated enough for that fuller, bigger court. So the idea would be, that's why the ball colours are important and patience is required. I know it can be seen as kind of like, oh, they're at the age now, but if you get the patience right and the movement patterns right, then they will transfer through the colours a lot quicker and more effortlessly.
I think that's the Emma Raducanu video. It's at what point did her parents say, seriously, are we not playing green ball? You see my daughter? No. That she's still, there's so much she can still learn in it, and it's keeping her technically sound at that ball colour at that age, because that is representative of her height. So you can still be challenged on whatever ball colour you're on. It doesn't make a difference. You're not going to become better because you suddenly move to green ball, because she would have been better on a green ball. She possibly would have been worse. We don't know what she was working on at the time, what her coach wanted to do with her. But she could have been worse moving to green ball or full ball. Was she capable of it? Yes. Do different countries do it slightly differently? Yes. But she's a pretty good example of using the system and allowing it to help develop and shape the player technically.
But also mentally, Raducanu at mini ball looked pretty decent. If she had gone to mini green maybe a year earlier, she would have gone from winning everything at mini orange to losing a lot at mini green. Maybe mentally she would have gone, you know what, I hate losing, I don't want to play this game anymore.
The biggest
You've got to mentally, you've got to get the balance right, because going from winning everything to then losing a lot because it's a completely different size of court and ball, that takes time, and that's got to be looked after really well, and patiently as well, because it can be a deterrent to their longevity in the game.
last one, and then I will. Are we okay on the video?
Yeah.
Excellent. Last point then, moving up the age groups into full ball players, into junior players. What's out there for my child? What we want to kind of build their journey into the juniors. Lots of children drop off through that mini tennis journey. We want to make sure that the junior journey is better. What's on offer for that age group, what we can do for that age group. And there are things that are slightly different. I think initially one of the first things that we want to try and do, and it doesn't matter again what club we're at, whether it's here or Kettering or Coventry or Brixworth, this club and Kettering probably being the main two have a much better social journey and club journey for the older children, because there are teams, there are adult leagues, there are club nights, there are things going on for those juniors. Some of the smaller clubs, we don't have that access, but that's when they may be able to dip into the other clubs to access that as well. So we want to integrate them as best we can with the club. That's really important to us, that they are integrated into the club, that we find the right time to get them into club tennis. The club has club evenings here and some of the other clubs. It has doubles matches, adult leagues, that we want to encourage those children into. That's the first key for us, is how do we integrate them into the club community of the adults. And it obviously, as you know, will have a lot of benefits, that being able to socialise with adults, whilst I'm sure some of you know or maybe thinking, oh, I don't want to socialise with any adults in the evening. But it's obviously really important for them to come down and have a different perspective of people playing different types of players, and they don't play the same way as children do. They're a lot more annoying. They're probably actually a lot more competitive, and it gives them a different variety of things to do. And I think it doesn't end out of the mini tennis stuff. It doesn't. There is so much more that the club has. How many juniors have we got playing tonight? 4 or 5 of the junior, and we do heavily encourage the juniors into the teams here. Same with Kettering, and we want to do the same at Brixworth and Coventry, and we're a lot newer in our journeys there. But we want to install the same thing, so that doesn't end. We want to push them into those club teams, and we know, again, back to the facts of playing more, we know the impact that has when they come down and play these events. When they come and play these matches, more children stay in the sport, And it's a great opportunity for them to get extra court time for free, to play some matches, to meet other people, to socialise, to win, to lose, to everything that they're going to need. You know, just little things like balancing. How many times I argue with children, oh no, I can't, I'm studying, oh, I've got some studying to do, I can't play this week, and I've got to cram in so much studying. It's going to help them to study, I'm sure. I don't need to lecture you all. It's going to help them to study if they play some matches, let off some steam, go and get some exercise. It's going to help their education, but being able for them to balance the two, not throwing themselves all into education, not throwing themselves all into the tennis and forgetting their education, but being able to balance the two and make that decision themselves. There is enough opportunity in this club and at Kettering to do that for the children, and that's something we heavily want to push when the children get to that age. Is there anything else you want on the junior front?
No, but we're just about to launch our junior nights, sorry, our club nights. So ladies' night is going to be going on Tuesday evening, men's night on Wednesday, and on Sunday evening there's going to be like a mixed social tennis going on. That can be a lovely addition to some juniors that are kind of like nominated for our programme to be able to attend those adult club nights and get involved and make that transition work. You know, so the idea is, as Simon said, to just try and continue it rather than just stop when your coaching stops. Like practice and play outside of the coaching sessions and the tournaments and stuff, because you learn a lot. You learn a lot when competing with players that maybe playing the game longer than the kids they're playing have been alive. Yeah, some people play it 20, 30 years and they learn a lot from their tactics and techniques and sometimes their shot shapes and ball bounces and stuff.
I think that's everything. Hopefully everything's been useful. There's something that you've learned, something you didn't know, something that will help you along the way. As we said, you may have wanted to ask a question. Please leave feedback, what you would like to know more about, what you wouldn't, something about your child's tennis, what you feel we could do better. Please do write something before you go. Stick it in that box, eat some of the food, otherwise I'm going to have to eat it. And yeah, we will hopefully do more of these parents' evenings, but we will keep posted. If anybody wants to stay and have a chat with any of us, please do have another drink. But other than that, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll see you soon.